And welcome back to TVB News. At least 44 legislators will join a trip to Shanghai to meet with Beijing officials. Among them, the outspoken Leung Kwok-hung. But many pan-Democrats in the Legislative Council have yet to decide whether or not to go. Jenny Lam reports.
The deadline to sign up for the coming LegCo trip to Shanghai was 5 o'clock this afternoon. Frederick Fung of the Association for Democracy and People's Livelihood has decided to go, but most other pan-Democrats are staying away. Fung says they have not had a chance to discuss political reform face-to-face with Beijing officials, and most of the information they have on Beijing's view is second-hand from others who have met with the leadership. Fung doubts if they are completely accurate and would like to find out for himself. Some Democrats insist that they should have a meeting with senior officials separate from legislators from other factions. The Democratic Party's Albert Ho asks why Beijing could not clarify if such a meeting is possible. And by this afternoon's deadline, most pan-Democrats said they hadn't had enough time to decide. LegCo President Zhang Yuxing pointed out that Beijing responded positively to previous demands by legislators. And if they could not decide, then they might have to pay for the trip themselves, should they decide to go later. Both Beijing and the Hong Kong government have stressed that proposals on the 2017 chief executive election must comply with the Basic Law. A public consultation on constitutional reform ends in a matter of weeks. Chief Secretary for Administration Carrie Lam reiterated today that the goal is to achieve universal suffrage. Jenny Lam, TVB News.
Secretary for Justice Rimsky-Yuen says the government is in talks with Macau for a rendition agreement between the two SARs. Calls for such an agreement have been mounting after 2 Hong Kong businessmen were sentenced to prison by a Macau court earlier this month.
Hong Kong businessmen Joseph Lau and Stephen Low were given jail terms by a Macau court after being found guilty of corruption charges. But as long as they don't set foot on the enclave, there's no way Macau can enforce their sentences. Justice Secretary Rimsky-Yuen told lawmakers today that the Department of Justice in both SARs have been discussing a rendition agreement so that the two sides have the legal powers to demand the surrender of wanted fugitives from each other.
We hope we can finish the arrangement, the documents on the arrangement as soon as possible. The normal working procedure would be for Hong Kong and Macau to agree on the agreement setting out the arrangement. And then based on that agreement, we would respectively embark upon our legislative process. We would come to LegCo to work on the legislative progress.
Yuen also defended his department's investigation into allegations of possible misconduct while in public office against former Chief Executive Donald Tsang and former ICAC Chief Timothy Tong.
The investigation being carried out by ICAC, the responsibility of the Department of Justice is to provide legal advice from time to time or as and when requested by ICAC. The matter is still currently under investigation, and therefore, as in other cases, I'm not at liberty to disclose or divulge the details. But I can assure everyone that there is no political interference, nor would the department take into account any political considerations.
This after Yuen was questioned by lawmakers during the LegCo Finance Committee meeting on whether it was the Department of Justice or the ICAC that was taking so long to make progress with the investigations, whether it involved political influence or lack of resources.
There are calls for legislation to ensure that valuable archives containing important government information are not destroyed. A group of retired judges and former civil servants have come together to form a concern group for the cause. Jenny Lam reports.
They call themselves the Hong Kong Public Records Concern Group. Their mission: promote proper record keeping and preservation of government archives. They believe members of the public have the right to such records in order to learn about Hong Kong's past and hold the government accountable.
Occupy Central. The one-man, one-vote for CE. Nomination committees. All these are subjects that are of intense debate. Government, therefore, would have discussions internally, considerations, decision-making. Imagine if there is no law governing archives, then we will never know what really happened.
An investigation by the Ombudsman earlier concluded that government guidelines on how to archive materials are lax and sometimes not strictly followed. The Director of Audit also criticised the government's handling of past records. The Hong Kong Public Records Concern Group wants the guidelines written in law to make sure nothing will be lost. Jenny Lam, TVB News.
All right, Tony, over to you for sports.
That's right, we've got football to kick off with. Liverpool returned to the top of the English Premiership last night after a big win over Tottenham on home turf. The result gives the Reds the belief that they can go all the way and win their first league title since 1990.
And finally tonight, President Xi Jinping paid a visit to China's cutest diplomats while touring Belgium yesterday. Pandas Xinghui and Hao Hao were loaned to Belgium last month as part of a Chinese tradition of using the bears to foster better relations around the world. After visiting the wildlife park, Xi and his wife, Peng Liyuan, spent the day with Belgian royals King Philippe and Queen Mathilde at the park. Xi is the first Chinese leader to visit Brussels since the European Union established ties with Beijing 4 decades ago. He plans to send a message to EU officials that China is a less confrontational partner and ready to resolve trade disputes. And that's the news for tonight.
Thanks for watching. Good night.
Good evening. It was cloudy with heavy rain this morning. At 5 p.m., a trough of low pressure brought thundery showers to the coastal areas of Guangdong. And up to 5 p.m., today's temperatures ranged from 18.9 to 21.2 degrees Celsius. And the current temperature is now standing at 20 degrees Celsius. 67.5 millimeters of rain has been recorded since midnight, and the thunderstorm warning has been issued. So, Freddie, how's the weather tomorrow? Cloudy with showers and a few squally thunderstorms tomorrow. Showers will be heavy at times. Temperatures will range from 20 to 23 degrees. Expect unsettled weather in the following few days. Tomorrow morning's air quality health index will range from low to moderate, and the maximum UV index forecast for tomorrow will be about 2. And now to the latest global weather update. Cloudy in Shanghai and Xiamen, rain in Taipei. Rain in Guangzhou, thunderstorms in Macau, cloudy in Chengdu. Cloudy in Beijing and Seoul, sunny in Tokyo. Bright in Bangkok and Manila, rain in Ho Chi Minh City. Thunderstorms in Kuala Lumpur and Singapore, rain in Jakarta. Sunny in New Delhi, Karachi, and Mumbai. Sunny in Cairo, bright in Nairobi. Showers in Brisbane, bright in Sydney, Melbourne, and Auckland. Showers in Toronto, sunny in New York. Sunny in Vancouver, rain in San Francisco, bright in Los Angeles. Showers in London and Paris, bright in Amsterdam, cloudy in Frankfurt, sunny in Zurich. And that's weather. Stay safe, everyone. Good night.